Stand by. Welcome to councillors and staff to this special council meeting today, and also welcome to those joining online and in the public gallery. Please note that today's meeting is being live streamed. It can be viewed by the general public via council's Facebook page and later uploaded to council's website. By participating in and addressing those present at the meeting, you consent to any information you disclose, including any personal information or sensitive information, being recorded and uploaded to the website. I'll now read our opening statement. As councillors, we recognise the responsibilities we carry and are guided by the values of service, respect and integrity. Good decision-making requires transparency, accountability and behaviours that uphold the trust placed in us as elected representatives of the community we serve. I'll invite Councillor Lisa Ryan to please read our acknowledgement of country.
Thank you, Mayor. We acknowledge the Paree Wurrung people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to elders past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here in the gallery and watching on the stream.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Service, we don't have any apologies to apart from we have got
well, it's our Director of Economy, Environment and Place, Jodie McNamara,
yes,
is currently on leave. So Darby Lee is here in the chamber representing Jodie. So
thank you,
Darby,
very much. Any councillors who wish to declare a conflict of interest in any items on the agenda today? 2 items. No, there are none. And we have no public participants at today's meeting, so we'll go straight into our 2 officer reports, beginning with Moyne Shire Council General Local Law Number 1, 2025. And I'll invite said Acting Director of Environment, Economy and Place, Mr. Lee, to step us through this, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the report before you seeks your adoption of the new Moyne Shire General Local Law 2025. This is substantially the same as the existing local law, but it's been updated to reflect some legislative changes. And the local law before you has been out for public consultation, with 1 submission received that has been incorporated into this version. This new local law is compliant with the requirements of the 2020 Local Government Act. The report before you also recommends that a full review of the local law commences, with stakeholder and public consultation to occur early in 2026. And for council's information, there is 1 date correction that has been detected, which will need to be corrected, and I'll hand over to Ms Miller to explain that.
Through you, Mayor. Councillors, as Mr Lee described, this is based on a legal update to reflect legislative changes only. And the submission received referred to clarifying some dates, and that is the change that we've circulated for your resolution. The adoption date being today's date, if council chooses to adopt, is the 21st of October. So there was an error on 1 page of the document that referred to the 28th of October 2025. So that will be changed in the version uploaded on the website to reflect today's date, the 21st of October. So that's on page 64 of your attachment in the agenda, but in the actual local law document, it's page 74 of 92.
Excellent. Councillors, are there any questions for this one?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. On page 29, under appeals, 19.5 talks about the infringement notices and the process, but I can't find in the document what the infringement notice is. If there is an appeal against I think it's against a fine or an infringement notice fine.
So what's the question?
Well, where is the infringement? 19.5 reads, for infringement notices issued under this local law, the review processes in the Infringement Notice Act applies. But I can't find where the Infringement Notice Act is.
Okay. Ms Miller or Mr Lee, are you able to respond to that?
Through you, Mayor, so Councillor Dukas, do you mean 19.5 where it refers to the infringements?
Yeah, where's the definition of the process for appealing an infringement notice?
Through you, Mayor, that sits within the Infringement Act procedures. So that's separate to the local law. The local law gives the ability for that process to occur.
So shouldn't we have that definition in here so people know what we're talking about?
I think that-
Take it on notice.
I think it refers to the act, so people are able to go to the relevant acts. Is that what you're saying, isn't it?
That won't confuse them all. Thanks very much, me. 19.2. Right, in making any submission will not in any way remove the person's obligation to act in accordance with any obligation direction. So if there's a dispute over a direction, that, to me, that reads that that person must undertake that direction, even if they dispute it. Is that correct?
Through you, Mayor. Again, that comes back to, I guess, the procedures that sit behind the local law and the Infringements Act. As we've mentioned, this version of the document hasn't changed effectively what's already in place and what has been in place for the last 10 years. This is just a legal update to reflect changes in legislation.
That doesn't answer my question. It reads that a person who's told to do something or other, right, must do it even though they're in dispute with whatever that direction is. That's the way I read it. I mean, read it out. Tell me, come on, councillors, tell me if you think it's different.
Councillor Watts, did you?
Oh, well, it's 19.1 says any person who is aggrieved by the matter under local laws may make a written submission for consideration by council. So that pretty much.
So 19.2 reads, the maker of any submission will not in any way remove that person's obligation to act in accordance with any obligation. That's contradictory.
This might be something we can take on notice.
Yeah,
Okay. It's okay. Well, Mr. Lee, we can take that on notice for some clarification. It doesn't change the essence of what we're deciding today, though. Yes,
Why wouldn't it change it?
from what I understand, would you like to explain that again, Ms. Miller? That's the process that sits behind the local law legislation.
Through you, Mayor, yes. So clause 19, I guess, sets the ability to make a written submission. And my understanding of clause 19.2 is then clarifying that any person who has made that submission, they're still obligated under the local law until that review is undertaken, basically.
So then you're going to undo it. So if a person has a disagreement with the local law, you want that person to then do whatever they're told to do by the Shire, and then in review, if they're deemed to be what their point of view to be right, what they've done was wrong. So you're asking someone to do something that they don't agree with, and they're asking for a review of that direction. So why would they undertake doing what they're supposed to do if it's under review?
I see what you're saying. Perhaps we can clarify that if we can take it on notice.
Okay, and on page 31 under 15.2, isn't that different to 15.1, the opposite?
Can you again state the page?
Well,
30, is it?
31,
31.
it says that on private land, you can stay in the camp for up to 14 days. So with a camping ground, you need a permit. So anybody, if I can decide that anybody can come and stay in my place and I can be a de facto camping ground for 13 days.
you like to tackle that one?
Through you, Mayor, if you could just clarify what clause number in the actual local law document.
Well, if you look at 15.1 and 15.2, 15.1 talks about having a permit. Person must not without a permit. 25.1, 20, but in 25.2 you can stay up to privately owned land for 14 days, for 14 consecutive nights or less. So that's a de facto camping ground.
Well, without notice, is that something you're able to respond to now, Ms Miller, or will we take that on notice?
I'll take that on notice. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see your hand, Councillor Murray. No, sorry. Anything else?
So when do my questions get reviewed? I mean, what's going out on review in the new year?
Through you, Mayor. So the consultation that will occur in 2026 will involve, I guess, seeking the community's views on all matters contained in the local laws. So if people want to submit on the camper vans clause, for example, and suggest a change, then they'll have the ability to do that through that. It's important to note, though, that any provision in the local law cannot contradict a piece of legislation. So you'll see that the Residential Tenancies Act 1997 is relevant to this provision. So council just needs to ensure that it's not contradicting another piece of legislation in any local law.
So what's in front of us now has already been out for 2 weeks.
And I believe these have been the local laws in place for the last 12 months.
10 years.
10 years, 10 years.
Right, so we're going to, if this is adopted today, in the new year, this document goes out for review. So the previous 2 weeks is irrelevant.
You, Mayor, the previous 2 weeks updated legislative references and any, I guess, legal update to ensure that there was no contradictory provisions with legislation changes.
Right. I need to be clear on some of this because we need to protect our local laws officers. And there's been a few issues because of the drought, etc. And they need to be able to work with whatever law is here, which is clear cut, unambiguous, the whole box and dice. We don't want to get caught up in arguments and legal issues, etc. And, make it life difficult for them because, they've got a hard job and they do the best they can, which is pretty good. So that's why I'm asking all these questions.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
The
I'm done.
opportunity to review in the detail. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Through my question is regarding Councillor Lucas's point. Is in the new year, I presume council will have many occasions to flesh this out and make sure we're happy with it as well. Is that correct?
That's the intent. Not together.
Great.
Okay. Any further questions? No. Okay. We do have an officer recommendation before us. Seeking a mover, please, Councillor Murray. Just to confirm, to clarify, you're moving the amended officer recommendation, which does. I might just ask you to read that, please.
Yep. Through you, I'm happy to move an amended officer recommendation, which will differ from the recommendation that the community can see online. It reads that Council 1 adopts the Moyne Shire Local Law Number 1, 2025, local laws as attached, subject to an update to the commencement operation date on page 64 of attachment 2.1.1 to reflect the 21st of October 2025, and 2, commence a full review of local law number 1, 2025, local laws as attached, including public and stakeholder consultation and engagement to occur in 2026 on all issues relevant to the local law provisions.
Thank you. Councillor Murray, do we have a second for this motion? It's Councillor Lockett. Thank you. Councillor Murray, to speak to your motion.
Through you, Mayor, I just wanted to thank all the officers involved. It's a big amount of work. As was mentioned, you need to make sure that that it's legal, that it's not conflicting with other laws. It's a huge amount of work and I'm really appreciative. And for our community, there's going to be further consultation as the actual review gets underway next year. So we'll look forward to that. Nothing further.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Lockett, second.
Thank you, Mayor. You can already see the complexities of this. It's a very thorough report, as Councillor Murray said. Local laws are there to protect the safety and well-being of our community, and also they're specific to our region, to our council for a region, for a reason, because we have unique, diverse communities. So there's specific laws for each little kind of hamlet and town within our Shire. So we look forward, we really welcome your feedback. Obviously, we've had some already through the council plan. We've had a little bit of feedback on this one, but we really encourage people's feedback, and I'm sure there will be lots. So we welcome that.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. I'll open it up for other councillors who'd like to speak for or against this motion.
Ms. Mayor, no, I just check on my hard copy, it's page 74. And the 64 comes in where? Because on my page 64, I've got a map.
So the hard copy version, I think we referred to before. So
Through you, Mayor, is page 74 of the actual local law document, but I think in your agenda page numbering, it's page 64.
So that's wrong.
Otherwise,
So 74 of the actual document.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Any councillors who'd like to speak for or against the motion? No? I'll return to you as the mover, Councillor Murray. Let's put that to the vote. All those in favour, please. 2.1. That is carried 7-0. Item 2.2 is the South West Victoria Alliance MOU or Memorandum of Understanding. And I'll ask our Acting Director of Corporate and Governance, Ms. Liz Regent, to introduce this one for us, please.
Thank you. So councillors, as you know, Moyne Shire Council is a member of the South West Victoria Alliance. What's being brought to you today is an updated MOU for adoption. It's been updated to reflect some structural changes to the group. So that specifically involves becoming an incorporated association. So this MOU outlines the parameters for that arrangement and proposes a 3-year commencement period from the 24th of October. And that's been brought for a decision today.
Thanks, Ms. Regent. Are there questions from councillors? MOU, Councillor Dukas.
Did Colac Otway pull out?
Colac Otway have decided not to remain members of the South West Vic Alliance. They've gone to G2.
Right. And their reason for leaving us and going with them?
You'd have to ask them, Councillor Dukas, I'm not sure.
Sure, they must have given a reason at one of the meetings that when they decided they're pulling out.
I know they discussed it at their own council meeting, but I haven't seen the council meeting.
Right, so it wasn't discussed at South West Alliance?
Not to my knowledge, no.
That's strange.
The decision was made in between meetings, between alliance meetings.
And they just, at the next South West Alliance meeting, they said, sorry, but we're leaving.
I couldn't give you concrete timeframes, but it was not discussed at the last alliance meeting, to my knowledge.
So it wasn't discussed at all so the alliance didn't discuss what they're going to do, because if I read this document correct, it's going to cost us an extra $5,000.
Well, we've got a meeting this Friday. So then that's why we're having this special meeting today to meet with the timeframes.
Yeah, but Colac didn't pull out yesterday. They would have pulled out meetings ago, months ago.
A few weeks ago. It's only a couple of, maybe 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Through me, I can provide also a bit of context as well. So Mayor Foster's right. So the Colac Otway have pulled out of the alliance between meetings. So we haven't had that second meeting yet, which is this Friday, and that coincides with the need to and the timing of signing off on this MOU. In terms of the recommendation from a funding perspective, we'll see what happens obviously through the board meeting this week, but coming into a state election year and a year of important advocacy for the Southwest, I think there'll certainly be discussion about how we tackle the next 12 months versus more the long-term view about the financing for the Southwest Vic Alliance. So I'd certainly expect, we'll certainly see the implications of Colac Otway being discussed this Friday for the first time. And then what are the implications in terms of that upcoming state election and the important role the Southwest Vic Alliance has for advocacy and ensuring that is appropriately funded. I think funding for the Alliance thereafter also remains a decision for the Alliance to think about. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. Does that clarify things, Councillor?
A little bit, and I read the document, but I could have missed it. Is there anywhere in the document where it says we get something like an annual report that highlights what the Alliance has done over the past 12 months?
Mr. Everstein, is that something you can respond to?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. So the Section 6 has got accountability and communication. So at each board meeting, there is a report presented to the board. So in terms of an annual report, we see sort of that financial information and so forth that you would see in an annual report presented at each board meeting. So it's a bit more regular than a formal annual report, and I suppose that's the nature of the Alliance. One of its core roles being advocacy and so forth. I think the structure of it is to be quite agile and flexible, but that's not to say that at the board itself, opportunities for improvement and enhancing the way it operates isn't open for discussion either, or certainly the wishes of Moyne as part of that group being put forward as well.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? No, if not, we have an officer recommendation there. Looking for a mover, please. Councillor Ryan, and seconded Councillor Murray. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. This is a great opportunity for Moyne as a whole, and a regional alliance like this strengthens our collective advocacy voice. By working together with our neighbouring councils, we can identify shared priorities and present a unified position to all levels of government, and it increases our influence on funding and policy, so it's somewhat of a no-brainer. And I only see positives as part of this alliance, particularly coming into the state election period and being able to advocate for the best opportunities for our ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. I'll reserve my right.
Thank you. Are there councillors who'd like to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, very well summed up by Councillor Ryan. I don't have too much more to add, but yes, as Councillor Ryan said, it's a state election year, so super important to have that strength as a region and advocate for. There's many things. Obviously, roads is a huge priority at the moment, and that's something that I think the Southwest Vic Alliance has, I'd like to say, it's doing a phenomenal job advocating that space, and I only hope that they can improve to strengthen that for the region, because there's lots of urgent matters that are required for our region to flourish. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Any other councillors? Or to return to you as the mover, Councillor Ryan. Oh, might be you've reserved your right, Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor. If I may, I just wanted to, for any of the community watching along, break down some of the terminology and what Southwest Vic Alliance actually is. So as councillors, we advocate, of course, on behalf of Moyne Shire. The Southwest Vic Alliance brings together 5 neighbouring councils to advocate on, I guess, regional issues that affect all of us, which, it's roads, it's childcare, it's aged care, it's all of those things that all of our councils are feeling, so that having a conglomerate, I guess, of councils sharing the same thing and advocating for the same thing carries so much more weight at a state and even federal level. So I think this is such an important thing to be a part of. I think it's really worthy, and I'm really happy to support this MOU.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. And Councillor Mark.
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Let's put item 2.2 for the vote. All those in favour? Thanks, that's carried 7-0. And there being no further business, I now close this meeting at 10:40 a.m. and thank you all for your attendance.